Hey, what's up YouTube? Back again with another video. And this video is going to be another test on that same stretch of road. If you haven't seen my other videos, I'll put a link down in the description or a card up here in the corner. But like I said previously, I got a new update, so I'm going to do the same test, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it handles the curves on this same stretch of road as we go through updates month after month and year after year. So if you haven't seen those videos yet, definitely go back and check those out. And also the full unedited drive is going to be at the end of this video. Okay, so if you remember from my last video, the first couple turns or this side of the road is pretty easy turns here. But of course you have an awful Prius driver that pulls out in front of you, and so I had to slam on the brakes. Even though I took control, this is a good test of the autopilot, and a human reaction time is still faster than the autopilot's reaction time in that particular situation. So if you've seen my other videos, you know I'm a huge fan of autopilot. And here's a great example. We hit a lot of stop and go traffic, and this is where autopilot pays for itself. If you don't have autopilot and you're on the fence, get it. You will not be disappointed if you sit in any type of traffic whatsoever. This stop and go traffic is so painful to drive in, but in autopilot, the car just takes over, keeps up with the car in front of you, and you just get to enjoy the view. So this traffic continues for a while, but I do want to mention that autopilot, even on a curvy road like this, in traffic this slow, performs beautifully because the car doesn't have to make such quick decisions. Now right here you're going to see this right side line go away, and the car widens it out, and you can see it kind of thinking there. Let's go do that in slow-mo one more time. So as the car approaches, you're going to see this white line stop at this intersection, and the car is going to think that the road gets wider there, or the lane gets wider there, so it's going to make a correction to the right, and then it picks up the white line again as soon as the truck passes, and then it's going to make a correction back over to the left-hand side. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys drive autopilot and during intersections where that white line goes away, if the car kind of opens up or swerves to the right a little bit and then back to the left. Now I was hoping that we were going to get a train right here so I could see if the autopilot was going to stop. One of you guys left a comment in my last video asking, will it stop if the rails come down and a train is coming? But unfortunately there was no way for me to test it, and it's really hard to time up with a train and for me to be the first car when a train goes there. Obviously if a car stops in front of you and they're stopping for the train, then your car is going to stop not for the train but based on the car in front of you. So now here comes the really challenging part of the road where the curves get really aggressive, and I'm setting the autopilot up for success, and I'm controlling the speed manually from the steering wheel. So I bump it up here to 30 miles an hour. The speed limit is 35, so we're going 5 under because we got some pretty aggressive turns coming up here. One in particular where the autopilot has failed, and check out my previous video to see that. So right here we have signs saying it's going to curve to the left, and it does a beautiful job. Let's take a look at that again. So yes, my hand's on the wheel, but you can tell autopilot's engaged by the 2 blue lines and the blue steering wheel. And the car does a great job, doesn't really slow down because again, I'm already manually slowed down 5 miles under, but it does a great job navigating that turn. And so here's a slight bend in the road. I've sped up the car to the speed limit, and another bend in the road, and a tricky corner coming right up here that it's failed in my last video. So let's see how it does. And it just makes it. Let's take a look at that again. So if you remember in my last video, the car was actually going to veer to the right here on this turn because it's hard because it can't see that white line on the side, but is able to get through the turn. I know I have a very small data set, but here's one example where this software update has improved versus my last test that I did on an older software update. So as we go here, we have another. Take a look at the position of the car. You can see that it's really hugging this left side of the lane, which makes me uncomfortable because it got oncoming traffic there. So I make sure that I have complete pressure on the wheel, ready to take over in case the car makes a decision that I'm not expecting. A really long kind of blind right-hand turn here, which is again very challenging because you can't see very far in front of you, and the car does perfectly. And now again, you don't have that white line because the lines are not painted well, but even through this turn, the car is able to stay in its lane, maintain autopilot, maintain its speed, and go through that turn perfectly. So coming up here, we have another bend to the left, and then an aggressive left-hand turn that goes down, which has failed before in a previous video, and this software update is able to do that flawlessly. So we have a blind right-hand curve here, and it does a great job. So coming up this hill on this next clip, take a look at this glare here. You cannot see the center lane, you cannot see the white line on the right-hand side, and the car is very glared out. But the autopilot doesn't disengage. I guess it has enough information to determine where it needs to be, even though as a human, you can't see the line. Now that only happened for a split second, so maybe it was able to see far enough ahead. Perhaps the optical sensors in the car are better than my eye at that particular moment. Okay, so I slow the car down here. This is another aggressive left turn, and it is able to do the turn. It got a little bit too wide on that right-hand side, and we're gonna watch it again in slow-mo. But again, this is another turn where it has failed in previous software updates, so another improvement, at least in this test, on this new software update. So it's making the turn, but you can see it's really hugging that right-hand edge of the road, and it does automatically slow down even more than I manually slowed it down during the curve. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to watch the full unedited drive, that's going to be right here. I currently have a giveaway going on until the end of June. If you guys are interested in that, make sure you subscribe here and also follow me on Twitter. I also have several other videos planned for this weekend, including more enhanced summon testing. So stay tuned for that. If you guys are in the market for a new or leased Model S, X, or 3, check out the link down below and you can get 1,000 miles of free supercharging. Their new website design makes it even easier to order a Model 3, S, or X easily from your phone in just a couple of minutes. As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.